In the macro, I genuinely believe that this is the greatest era to be navigating in the human race. I just actually believe that. And for all the disruption that's happening in all four of these categories, you too could take the power of that platform and you could have the relationship with the end consumer if you chose to. And that's just not how it used to be. It used to be too expensive to do that. It was expensive to build 50 offices. This is the moment. This is really the moment. And a lot of my passion and the reason I've gotten so loud, especially over the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, I just know this is the moment. I know when you have the best hand, you need to go all in. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being at Agent 2021. I'm very excited to be here with Matt Higgins, a dear friend, somebody that I've been able to do business with for about a decade now, over a decade. Big shout out to everybody who was at the dinner last night, the VIP. Thank you guys so much. Enjoyed spending so much time with you. And really, we're just gonna go into some questions. I'm gonna interview Matt and create some context in this industry. Matt, first question for me is, when you think about, these industries, what are you seeing in the current market space? I think what you've done extremely well is evaluated talent, looked at trends. What are you seeing right now in a macro? Obviously, you're very close business partners with Steve Ross, and so the real estate in the macro world, but in the trenches or through any serendipity, is there anything that stands out as a trend for these industries or a thematic to anything that's happened in your career over the last couple of decades?
Well, it gets me, first of all, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Hope you had your coffee. What gets me excited about this conference and everybody here is everyone's in an industry where it's slow to adopt. And as shocking as this might sound, but when I was back at the New York Jets in 2009, the NFL was really slow to adopt. Sports teams should have been the first ones to embrace Facebook and so forth. And I remember back at the Jets, we created a MySpace account, went rogue, and I got a cease and desist letter from the NFL. Like, you're not allowed, content belongs in the mothership. And so my point of that is, when I look at the trajectory of my career, I meet Gary at a bagel store and realize,
That's so f***ing Jersey.
I know. We could skip that story, but there was an arbitrage at that moment, which is if you could be a sports team that can embrace technology and social media and communication and pull back the curtain, you would stand out from the crowd. And that's exactly what we did in the Jets. I basically stole all Gary's early ideas before he was on the radar and made them my own. But you have a chance to do that today. You're an industry.
Oh, they're doing it.
No, I know. So that's what gets me excited. I'd rather be in an industry that doesn't understand that life is about storytelling, right? That you stand out by telling stories. And back in my day when I was in PR, I had to rely on a reporter and convince them that my story was worthy. You can bypass that filter, right? As long as you can aggregate an audience and you have a great story, which we all do, you can stand out.
People always ask me, okay, from a strategy standpoint, how should I build my content? Well, more importantly than anything else, cadence is everything. If you're gonna drop a video, you wanna drop a video on the same day, every single week. If you wanna drop a piece of content every day, same time, every single day. People love a consistent cadence. Second, you wanna build content but you don't know what to build content? Look at all your competitors. Start going out in the market and researching what people are asking for in the comment sections of all your competitors. You will have a wealth of information of which to actually start building content.
I believe the foundation of anything you're going to put out into the world needs to be based on 2 words, and it is that nobody cares. I know that can sound like a negative thing, but hopefully it should be an inspiring thing. Any given consumer at any given time, inside the category, outside of the category, is seeing 5,000 to 10,000 ads a day, and you're trying to get attention, but you're going to get attention through an emotional way, and that's really it. It is that. Just telling somebody the what and the speeds and feeds won't actually make someone want to care and choose. So that's what storytelling is. It's the art of getting somebody to care enough to stop and engage with you and your story.
I think in addition to the emotional connection of storytelling, I also think that the nature of our industry, the language around the insurance industry can be a little bit complex for the average consumer. So how can we create stories around coverages, specific coverages, whether it's home or whether it's insuring their business, so that the consumer can really understand what their risk exposures are, what could happen if they don't have those specific coverages, and it's not rattling off the terminology that we within the insurance industry are comfortable talking about. It's telling a story about a business that may have went through a catastrophic event and talking about the coverages that could be in place to prevent that from happening.
I think part of it is knowing your niche and knowing where you fall and making sure that you have a genuine interest and alignment in that space. For example, I specialize in working with human and social service organizations. So for me, a lot of what I do and the content I post is related to the community service that I'm involved in. And so I think by being genuine and true to yourself, I think that's going to help resonate with people on a level different than just a purely business transaction.
One of the mistakes I think a lot of people make, and to kind of add to what Steve was saying, is thinking about what they want the audience to hear, not what the audience wants to hear. So what are some other mistakes from a marketing, storytelling standpoint that you guys see people doing?
I think, well, we're gonna add more time to that clock because we all make so many mistakes in this space. I think one of the biggest ones is authenticity.
If you could change one thing across the entire industry, whether it be the agents or the way we are able to sell, what's the one thing that if you had like your little magic wand, what would it be?
Training. I think we're overeducated and undertrained. I know that sounds crazy.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay, that's
I think I got it, yeah.
Yeah, we're overeducated. We go to all these workshops and CEs and all this other stuff, and we learn all the what, but we don't learn the how. We just learn a bunch of what. So that's what I think. We're overeducated and undertrained.
The way that you approach Gen Z is the same that you would really approach anybody else when it comes to building trust, right? The fact that it's going to work for them, it's going to work for everybody else too. That's why everyone thinks, oh, we got to do something different to maybe necessarily talk to these people. But it's really what you should have been doing all along. It's just you haven't really taken the time to kind of pull back the curtain, right? And it's the fact that, you know, we're dealing with a generation, like what Brad said, that doesn't know any better. They don't know any different. They've had access, unlimited access to the people that they've built relationships with in an entirely different way that we've ever really come to experience. And it's in those relationships that we kind of need to find ways that our business can do the same. And while it won't be, you know, again, it won't be as exciting, or it won't be, a kid doing toy reviews online making $20 million a year, but it will be in just providing them with what they feel is an honest representation of the products that they're going to be buying. One of the things that is most effective, we talked about how to build the trust, but I think going on the offense to go against the people that are distrustworthy, I think that's the right word, to attack and listen to the things, kind of what you're saying, like listen to the things that people are struggling with and where they're seeing they're not being served with trust, right? So what are they finding common problems with that they can't get the answers to, that, you know, people in the industry that aren't maybe as, we'll call it, ethical in what they present the insurance products to be, and how can you attack that very specifically with those pain points as to reasons for them to find you? Because there's nothing more powerful than being able to describe an untrustworthy situation to them, you know, like in a video that's already happened. Like you've been there, you've seen it 6 times before lunch, sort of thing. And if they can find that from you, you're kind of just inviting them in. Like, this is like, hey, this guy's telling me what I've already experienced. Why wouldn't I want to do business with him?
And the fact that you are even at this event, know about me and or this space or this movement is a fundamental advantage. There are millions and millions and tens of millions of agents and dealers and companies and people that look like you for a living that haven't even begun the process of accepting the realities of the technology advances in our society. So it would make me super fucking happy if everybody clapped it up for each other. Let's do that again, because that was some tennis shit.